Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Shout out to everybody in Atlanta that took their butt out there and they told y'all it was going to snow. And it snowed on y'all. Shout out to my man Lucky, man, and see my man caught up in the snow, man. Sorry, Lucky. You ain't too lucky today. Choke, no joke. I'm in the building tonight. All right. You know what it is. We got a lot to talk about. All right. The holidays is over. We back in full effect. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, Tupac Shakur. We will be covering that Keefe D joint tonight. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to my man Notorious B.I.G. Might have to touch on that case a little bit tonight too. Choke, no joke. I am live. Don't ask, am I live? I'm live. I'm telling you I'm live. Y'all be saying, is he live? Is this live? I'm live. Okay? It is Tuesday, January 21st. All right? It is 6:36 p.m. I am live. Okay? Choke, no joke. You know what it is. We here now. All right? Oh, somebody tell Tisa tells. I said tap in. I seen the video. She did it about me yesterday. And shout out to you, Shawty. All right? Yeah. So all the ladies or those who know Tisa tells, tell her tap in right now. Choke, no joke is live. You know, I'm if she like, I'll even shoot a link if she come in the comments. But I will answer her questions with the Kimora Lee Simmons and Kim Porter thing tonight. I will address that. All right. So y'all know what it is. Choke, no joke. I'm in the building. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's get to the show, yo. Yeah.
Choke, no joke. Yeah. It's choke, no joke. Let's go. Choke, no joke. Chicken choke, no joke. Choke, no joke. Niggas choke, no joke. Choke, no joke. Yeah. It's choke, no joke. Let's go. Choke, no joke. Chicken choke, no joke. Choke, no joke. Niggas choke, no joke.
Choke, no joke. Jack Brown. Yeah, now.
Choke, no joke. Jack Brown. Yeah. This what ATL in New York sound like. Let's go. Y'all hating ass niggas, I see y'all. Choke, get busy, that's why I got the crown. Hate in the air. You clowns, I see the envy that you breed, jealousy. What you need is your own damn hustle. Stop worrying about mine. Nigga, I'm poppin' cause I put in time. Came out modeling, camera in hand. Still get busy with the mic in hand. Streets pulled out, niggas got sprayed. Niggas turn on you when they see you get paid. The intimidation in your face. Where's the love? What's taking place? You want my gold and my ducats, cause my money overflowing out of buckets. Shot him in public, made people holler. Scar on his face for the money and the power. I'm the choker. Choker. The truth in the industry made me the choker. 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 The truth in the industry made me the game had me fooled, got in, was young. Thought talent made you rich, damn was dumb. More to make, cake from crumbs. You gotta be sweet, G or native tongue. My heartbeat went into overload when Larry tried to turn me into a mole. Told me show my curly to the CEO. I didn't think it's funny, so his jaw hit the floor and grabbed that chair that broke his back. Then realized that's a hate attack. Harassment comes assault, you in the maze. No way out, like Puff and Mace. Touch me, tease me, I catch a case. Nigga, you ain't straight as your poker face. Father law God, in that game I fold. This sun don't tick, demon time don't hold. I'm a choker. Choker. The truth in the industry made me the choker. 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 The truth in the industry made me the choker. Choker. The truth in the industry made me the choker. Choker. On the ones and twos, choker. What y'all want to do? I'm here now. Eden Wall, stand up. Shout out to the bomb squad. Choke no joke. You already know. Y'all know I love that cooch. You know what this is. I love that cooch. Yeah. It's the A thing. Clean cooch. Let's go. Yo, what's up? My nuts when I wake up. Got morning wood and I just bust one. In mahogany, I'm Ron Osley. Between the sheets, and she want to ski. And just shout with me with what I thought was pee. She rolled the D and her water broke B. Not pregnant, but baptized me. I'm down for more love, but change the sheet. She said, please, I want more. Next thing I know, mattress dripping the floor from her juices. Oral had me stoned, had a Corinne, and Medusa at one. And when I look in her eyes, between her thighs, I tell you no lie, ain't shit won't buy. I rob and take it, for me to taste it. Red Lobster, pussy, biscuit, freshly baked. Eat that coochie all night. She sprayed my face like Shook Sprite. I love her. I eat her coochie all night. She sprayed my face like Shook Sprite. I love her. Up my nuts when I wake up. Got morning wood and I just bust one. In mahogany, I'm Ron Osley. Between the sheets, and she want to ski. And just shout with me with what I thought was pee. She rolled the D and her water broke B. Not pregnant, but baptized me. I'm down for more love, but change the sheet. She said, please, I want more. Next thing I know, mattress dripping the floor from her juices. Oral had me stoned, had a Corinne, and Medusa at one. And when I look in her eyes, between her thighs, I tell you no lie, ain't shit won't buy. I rob and take it, for me to taste it. Red Lobster, pussy, biscuit, freshly baked. Eat that coochie all night. She sprayed my face like Shook Sprite. I love her. I eat her coochie all night. She sprayed my face like Shook Sprite. I love her.
Choke no joke, you already know. Shout out to all the cooch lovers out there, male and female, you know. It is what it is. Choke no joke, I'm in the building. All right, how y'all feeling out there? Y'all feeling good? If you're feeling good, let me hear you say real good. I hear you. All right. What I need to do, I need to go to my TikTok. This Instagram ain't it for me. They get a little notification, but hopefully things change now that Trump put that executive order in where they can't be censoring all our stuff like that. All right, we're going TikTok. Don't be hooty hooing me, shorty. Wait, why I'm suspended on TikTok now? What the hell? Oh boy. What? Ah. I don't even know what the hell they talking about. Gotta hit the appeal button at all. That's all right. As long as I can shop on TikTok, that's all I care about. Banned in the USA. Banned in the USA. Banned in the USA. God damn. I can't go live on no app. Banned in the USA. That sucks. Like, I don't know what's going on. How do I appeal it on the goddamn Instagram? Can I appeal it on there too? I'm thinking about going to see Clarissa Shields fight. Anybody y'all going to see the fight? I can't believe this, man. All right. I'm gonna start being PG with y'all, man. You know what I mean? They crying too much. I gotta start being PG up there. I no more curse words, no more N words for me, man. I can't. I love Jay-Z. Jay-Z he's a nice guy. I really like him, man. Jay-Z is the greatest guy since pumpkin pie. I can't talk bad about Jay no more. Jay-Z is the most handsomest man since, I don't know, since Ask the Ladies. But that man is, he has the most beautiful locks in the world. It's just his hair, I just admire it. He has like a mane, Yeah, I won't talk bad about him no more. These niggas, man, it's crazy. All right, well, check it out. As you can see, we got the brother Tupac Shakur right here. And we got my man Notorious Big right here. And we here because, earlier I did a show. I told y'all that I will come back once the court hearing, the court proceedings took place, and take y'all into the courtroom and see what happened with Keefe D today with his motion hearing. So we're about to get into that right now. You know what I mean? Child, law, and crime. You know what I mean? Choke, no joke. Let's get into this. We are under fair use here. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, and personal use tips to balance in favor of fair use. All right. So I'm gonna take y'all into the courtroom. And then the little homie, Tisa Tales, she did a video about me yesterday. That she saw something on my Instagram, and so I think she's on her ground enough for me to recognize and give her a response. I respect her. You know what I mean? I see her down here doing her thug at thizzle thing. You know what I mean? If Tasha K looked that good, she'd be a star. But let's get into the Keefe D thing, and then I'll get to that. All right, 1 minute.
All right, that's it for page 10. Does anybody have anything they want called before we get into the Davis messages? I'm sorry. No, you're okay. All right, let's call page 6, Duane Davis, C377407. Mr. Davis is present in custody with Mr. Arnold. We have Mr. DiGiacomo appearing for the state. This is on for Mr. Davis's motion to dismiss. Mr. Arnold, I did see that the state filed its opposition on 1/15. Did you want to file a written reply, or do you want to proceed with oral argument?
I proceed with oral argument, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. To begin with, let's start with the corpus delicti argument. Basically, the law is clear, Your Honor. The state cannot proceed with a conviction against Mr. Davis solely based on his admissions. And if they don't have any evidence to corroborate those admissions, the case should be dismissed. And it's very clear, we both cited to the same exact case as the Sheriff being Dada case. And the law is very clear that we cannot have just the confessions, because if you just leave that to the jury is going to just assume guilt because he confessed. And so without the state providing any evidence outside of those confessions, that's a huge problem. It amounts to a legal trial, a trial that won't have the correct result. And so the state is saying that basically we were, we should have done this as a habeas petition. I disagree with that. Here's the reason why. we are not contesting probable cause. What we're contesting is, after all of the evidence has been delivered, there's no corroborating evidence. There's nothing. And then the state also stated that we're just looking for a corpus delicti, you just have to look at the body. If there's a body, there's corpus delicti. And that's just not the rule, Your Honor. There has to be, obviously in this case, a body, but the state has also alleged that this was assisted, promoted by a gang. And so those facts have to be evident. And the only way we have those facts is from Mr. Davis's own mouth. The other participants in this, which I'll talk about in my second argument, are all dead. And so, but for Mr. Davis speaking and giving those statements, there is no corpus delicti in this case. I'll go to argument 2. And that's Mr. Davis's right to a fair trial and due process. The state pointed out the correct standard of review for that, and I don't disagree with that standard. However, the part that we disagree with is whether Mr. Davis is prejudiced or not. They're saying, well, the witnesses that died are going to give speculative, well, it's speculative as to what the witnesses would say. In those cases, yes, that would have been the situation. In this case, it's different. I'll just concentrate on these 4 witnesses, Your Honor. Eric Martin, and just for the court's edification, Eric Martin was the person that supposedly gave the gun. DeAndre Smith, he was in the backseat. Terrence Brown, he was the driver, and Orlando Anderson was alleged to be the actual shooter. Without these 4 co-conspirators being alive, being available at trial, basically, Mr. Davis is completely prejudiced from proceeding. And his defense.
Now, let me say something to y'all real quick before I move on. See, this is where his lawyer, I don't know if I should be saying this. I don't know if I should be saying this. You know what? I got to say it because if what I'm thinking it comes into fruition, it ain't because I'm saying it that is going to happen, right? But I'm saying it so when it come into fruition, y'all can say, once again, Choke hit the goddamn head on the nail, right? See, his lawyer thinking, oh, there is no co-conspirators in this case. There are no other witnesses in this case that puts Keefe D within. Keefe D just made this up, this, that, and the third, right? Now, here's where they effed up at, right? They got Gene Square. They got Gene Square. All they going to do is subpoena Gene and in that case, and don't forget, if in this motion, if they don't dismiss it, right? There's still always the possibility that the feds could come and arrest Keefe D, right? Or did he get indicted for murder for hire for Keefe D, which will start bringing in more witnesses to land Keefe D ass in jail. I mean, for the rest of his life, opposed to him being in there right now, right? Because I'm gonna show you how. And like I said, it ain't because I'm saying it that this is going to happen, but I'm saying it to show y'all what's going to happen. What they're going to do is they're going to use G, right? Gene, and then they're gonna allegedly indict Diddy, right? In this murder. That's gonna bring more witnesses to Keefe D's case, right? Now he gonna have more people to put him in places, right? Gene is gonna be the one that they're gonna said, oh, little daddy called me that night, right? Gene is going to be, even though Zip is dead, they got Gene to say that, oh, I saw the check from Zip for Pac's life, right? They got Gene to tie Diddy to Keefe D. They got Gene to tie Keefe D to D Mac, right? They got Gene to tie, like I could go on for days, right? So when Keefe D think that he's using that Orlando T. Brown and DeAndre Smith is dead, so there's no witnesses. No, they're gonna go with they're gonna go with the theory that you said Diddy hired you to do it. They're going to indict Diddy. They're going to indict Gene as allegedly on both of them as co-conspirators in a criminal organization, right? And they're going to force Gene to sit there and connect all the dots through all his interviews. So just like Keefe D, if he get up there and try to lie, like the prosecutors in the Diddy case reached out to Keefe D about him saying Diddy hired him. Keefe D said he was lying. He not talking to them. So don't think they're not going to double back on him, right? Because I'm willing to bet that the what is it called? The Enterprise letter is going to include Keefe D. Watch. And it's going to include Gene, because they're going to either Gene's already working, in my opinion. He's very cooperative. We heard him on Murder Rap sitting down in the interrogation room, spilling his guts, right? We already know he a rat bastard. Shout out to Unique Mech Audio for coining that phrase. Right? So we know he not going to sit there and try to help Diddy, but as we all know, he's just as guilty in some situations and complicit with situations. He drunk the juice and didn't go to the police. His baby mama drunk the juice and didn't go to the police. He was running hookers to Mike Tyson and the dude in Jersey, crossing state lines for the madam. Remember? So when they come with the Enterprise and everything, they got enough stuff that they could throw on Gene to make him squeal more than he's been squealing. You know what I mean? You just gonna hear a different type of squeal. It's like stepping on a mouse or a rat's tail. That's the type of squeal you're gonna hear from that nigga. Right? Now, once again, I'm gonna get right back to it, right? But for them to think that, oh, because the niggas in the car is dead, they wrong. Trust me. They are definitely wrong. Kainan, thanks for becoming a member. Appreciate you. All right. Now, I'm going to get right back into this. But like I said, it's more people that is tied to the Tupac murder that's still alive, that now that Keefe D think that he gonna use the defense that, oh, the niggas that was in the car was dead, and they ain't got no gun and they ain't got no car and all this other. Watch what happens. Watch what I tell you how this turns around and become and it might just become a federal case. Keefe D might just get pulled right into Diddy case somehow or another. All right, let's get back to it.
Four witnesses, Your Honor. Eric Martin, just for the court's edification, Eric Martin was the person that supposedly gave the gun. DeAndre Smith was in the backseat. Terrence Brown, he was the driver, and Orlando Anderson was alleged to be the actual shooter. Without these four co-conspirators being alive, being available at trial, basically, Mr. Davis is completely prejudiced from proceeding. And his defense is he made this all up for profit. These individuals, these co-conspirators, have to exist in an effort to kill Mr. Tupac Shakur. If they're not alive, if Eric didn't give him the gun, if DeAndre wasn't the driver, if Orlando didn't shoot, we don't have a murder according to the state's theory, which is following, again, solely the admissions. So we go back to when was this information available to the state? I would allege that it was available all the way in 1996. Everybody knew Orlando Anderson was in a fight with Tupac. Well, he wasn't in a fight. He got beat up by Tupac and other members of his gang viciously. He was the number one suspect right off the bat.
Now, only reason Orlando Anderson was the number one suspect right off the bat is because Reggie Wright Jr. called his father within minutes, right? And now he's trying to go with the 3-4 hour theory. Knock it off, brother. We got you on that. I can go pull and show you that you're lying when you're trying to say, oh, 3 or 4 hours. I'm not going to help you. I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to let you just keep talking yourself right next door to Keefe D. I'm not going to help you no more because I see you changing up your story, but I'm just going to let you do that because I got all the receipts on you, buddy. So Reggie Wright Jr. is the one that immediately made Orlando Anderson the suspect by calling his father back in Compton and telling his father that Southside did it and Orlando did it. That's what incited the war in Compton between the Bloods and the Crips, or the mob and the Southside, after Pac got shot. Because Reggie Wright Jr. called his father. You got Robert Ladd, Bobby Ladd to corroborate that story. You got Reggie Sr. to corroborate that story. You got plenty of people, Reggie himself. Orlando Anderson didn't tell the police who jumped him. Tupac didn't have a warrant for his arrest for the fight. Reggie Wright Jr., who was not even at the fight, nor was he at the shooting, called his father and told him that Southside did it, right? Keep that in mind. Don't think that Orlando made a statement to the police to say, oh, Tupac and them shot me, and then that's how everybody found out. No, people found out in Compton before Suge and anybody else, anybody in that entourage did anything. Reggie already called his pops. His pops called the other cops in Compton and told them, yo, get ready, the war's coming to Compton. They incited a war by blaming Orlando. It was no proof. Nobody knew. And now you'll have Reggie lying, sitting here talking about, oh, I found out. First he said Buntry and them told him at the club about the shooting. You know what I'm saying? Then he said you know what? I'm not gonna give y'all the different versions. Please trust me, I got it. But I'm not gonna give it to him because he's watching, right? So while this is getting ready to go into trial, I'm not gonna say nothing to help him get his lies together, right? But remember, the grand jury in this trial that we watching now that's getting ready to take place, Reggie Wright Jr. is testified in the grand jury. So all this information that the prosecution got right now that they talking about came from Reggie. I got the paperwork if you haven't never seen it. You know what I'm saying? I have the paperwork. All right, I'm gonna pull the paperwork. Let's go. Let's get back in the courtroom. But remember, most of the prosecution's theory on Keefe D's situation, outside of Keefe D telling on himself, right, comes from Reggie. And then remember, Reggie is the one that convinced him to do the interviews. Reggie is the one that hooked him up to do the interviews, right? Keefe D, not knowing Reggie's lining his ass up to take the fall, don't even realize it. And then what we see later, Reggie calling the nigga phone. And then now we know from the paperwork that came out recently that Reggie and Keefe D been boys since way back. And allegedly was doing drugs, selling drugs together way back then in 96, 95 or whatever, allegedly, right? So Keefe D and this paperwork that Reggie talks about so much that he was snitching, in that paperwork, he is alleging that Reggie was selling drugs back then and them niggas was boys. So who is not to say that Diddy offered Keefe D the money for Pac, and him and Reggie already cool, and he go and tell him that, yo, this nigga Diddy offered us $1 million, allegedly. You know what I mean? Yo, and you know how Reggie feels about Suge, for real. We know that Tupac fired Reggie ass, right? And him and Keefe D, you don't think that allegedly that he couldn't have orchestrated this whole shit? And then turn around, threw Keefe D ass right to the wolves because he's so goofy, he don't even see it. He ain't even see it coming. That he's sitting there going out there talking about interviews and all that shit, listening to this nigga, got his ass in trouble, right? But think about it. Let that marinate. These niggas been cool all the way back before. They from Compton. And then listen to his latest interview. He talks about how he knew Keefe D's mother, his sister, his aunts, and what word? Oh, so y'all go back that far, huh? And we not to believe that if Keefe D came to you and say, yo, nigga Puff offered us allegedly $1 million, that you wasn't going to line that shit up. So y'all niggas, Pac already fired your ass already anyway. You want to take over Death Row? We hear you over there flirting with Sharita. Then you low-key a Crip, according to your paperwork. And this is why you want to see Keefe D get caught. I mean, go down so fast. You want him to be convicted so you could be like, "Phew, okay, God damn it, boy, they almost had me, man." But don't think that this is over. Once Keefe D see that this ain't gonna work, he gonna start rolling over on that dude. Watch.
Orlando didn't shoot. We don't have a murder according to the state's theory, which is following, again, solely the omissions. So we go back to when was this information available to the state? I would allege that it was available all the way in 1996. Everybody knew Orlando Anderson was in a fight with Tupac. Well, he wasn't in a fight. He got beat up by Tupac and other members of his gang viciously. He was the number one suspect right off the bat. There should have been an alert. The police should have been searching for Orlando Anderson, but we always knew where he was because he went back to LA. They could have been in contact with him. They could have gotten statements from him. They could have gotten statements from Mr. Davis. They could have gotten statements from Mr. Martin. They knew all of these players way back in 1996. I don't know what happened. I'm sure Mr. Giacomo doesn't know what happened in regards to why the district attorney's office did not proceed with prosecution or at least an investigation at that time. But it's a tactical delay that goes severely against my client because now all of these players are dead. I'll fast forward all the way to 2009. In 2009, the Metro officer comes down to LA and gives us, Mr. Davis gives the statement. That statement, all of the elements of this murder and what the state will attempt to prove at trial if the trial goes forward, is what Mr. Davis had said. They had that information. They did no investigation. At that time, Eric Martin was still alive, and also Terrence Brown was still alive. Orlando had passed in 1999, and I think DeAndre Smith in 2005. But at least two major players in this co-conspiracy are passed. The DA's office, again, does not do any investigation beyond that. And so with that, we feel that my client's sufficiently prejudiced beyond repair. It leads me back to the immunity argument. In 2009, I counted, well, I'll just go through the pages, Your Honor. In that 2009 discussion with the Las Vegas Metro Police Department's officer, Detective Long, on page 3, he says, no intent of arresting Keefe. Page 11, I'm not here to arrest you. I'm not here to arrest you. I'm not going to arrest you. Page 12, you're free to leave. I'm not going to arrest you. You can go wherever you want. Page 103 and number 4, Terrence Brown was still alive, and the detective said, I was not going to arrest him. Page 134, I want to close the Tupac case. Page 138, this is confidential and covered, and you cannot be charged on it. Basically, you have the state was given the information by the LAPD. The LAPD had a immunity agreement with him out of the 2008 confession. The 2009 confession came by a product of Detective Dupree. Detective Dupree set that up. The only reason he set that up and why my client would have agreed to was that everybody was on the same page that immunity was going to be provided. If it wasn't, how come he wasn't arrested right then and there? Because he said, I got the gun from Zip Martin. We were in a white Cadillac. I handed it to the back seat, and then Orlando took the gun and shot Tupac. All of that information is back there in 2009. But again, the DA office, and again, it's not these players, it's not Mr. Wolfson or Mr. Giacomo. That decision was made back then not to proceed with the trial. And now it's the state's burden, we believe, to show why they did not go forward and prosecute. They just can't sit here and say, well, he kept talking about it. No, you had that information in the beginning. You should have arrested him back in 2009. And so it had to be for a tactical advantage. That being, everybody's dead. It leaves Mr. Davis on the hook, and then he can't answer for all of the statements he made after that, other than it was for profit. And so,
regarding the timeline that you've laid out,
yes, Your Honor.
would Mr. Martin and Mr. Brown have been alive after the Compton Street Legend book was published, or no?
What is that, 2018, right?
19.
2019, no, the Terrence Brown dies, I believe, in 2015, and Zip Martin, I don't recall exactly when he died.
But it's not your argument that he ultimately would, if that's the state's triggering event for starting to investigate, that he would not have been alive at that time. Is that accurate?
After the book, right, when the book was published.
Yeah.
But after the 2009, he was still alive.
Of course, the Detective Long interview, of course, they're still
Right.
alive, but except for Mr. Anderson and Mr. Smith. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had it.
Yep. And outside of any other questions, Your Honor, we'd submit.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arnold. Mr. DiGiacomo, anything you want to add?
Just briefly, as it relates first to corpus delicti, that's death by criminal agency. Obviously, Mr. Shakur didn't shoot himself, so that is satisfied in a homicide by proof of the facts and circumstances, which were testified to, by the way, at the grand jury. And it is an argument. We didn't go through all of the evidence that is potentially out there. Their argument is there was insufficient evidence presented at the grand jury in order for them to be held under the corpus delicti rule. Even if you were to take it a next step further and say you have to have some evidence of a conspiracy independent of the bullets in Mr. Shakur, there's clearly at least a driver and a shooter, so evidence of a conspiracy exists. And so therefore, corpus delicti is satisfied no matter how you look at it, one way or the other. I also would dispute there's no independent evidence to corroborate, but that's not relevant in a corpus delicti argument. Corpus delicti is about criminal agency, and there is clearly criminal agency in this particular case. As it relates to the second argument, I'm unclear exactly what their argument is on the tactical decision we made. Their argument is he fully confessed, which as the court reviews that transcript, you can tell that he is being a knowing spectator all the way up until Dan Long gets kicked out of the room. Then his lawyer and Detective Dupree have a conversation where his lawyer tells him, hey, if you say the wrong thing, this guy can arrest you. And as you well know, because they're in California, Dan Long can't arrest him. Dan Long has to come back here, submit a warrant for his arrest, and take him into custody. Detective Long never tells him that he has immunity, but even if he did, all that would go to is the admissibility of the statement, because Detective Long doesn't have the authority to issue that, nor do the LA DAs or the LAPD or the federal government. Only a court in the state of Nevada could say Mr. Davis has immunity from the crime of murder in the state of Nevada. And he has pointed to zero evidence whatsoever of any immunity. He has referenced some proffer agreements that he had with other agencies, and certainly that can be the subject of future litigation as to which of those statements are admissible or not admissible. And then the other, I guess, argument is somehow we waited intentionally so everyone else would be dead to charge Mr. Davis with a crime. No, Mr. Davis chose upon himself to publicly confess to a crime multiple times. And that's the evidence that spurred the investigation of Detective Mogg and ultimately resulted in his arrest. Mr. Davis has no basis to complain that he's sitting in that box right now. Because Mr. Davis got up there and then even quote once said, I think it's in May of 23, on video, I beat the streets, I beat the feds, and I beat cancer. That was his choice to make. And when he made that choice, the state of Nevada chose to charge him, and he needs to stand trial for the charges, and I'll submit it.
Mr. Arnold.
Yeah. Just a quick rebuttal. I don't want the court to get hooked up on this corpus delicti. The corpus delicti rule is basically, again, that's in the preliminary hearing stages of the case. The black letter law is this. The law states you cannot have a conviction based upon just his admissions and statements. That's the law. If the state at this point puts on a trial to a jury and that's all they have is his admissions, that whole trial is illegal. That's an illegal trial. It's going up for appeal. It should not happen. They need to have something else, a gun, a witness, something else that puts this gentleman, those three co-conspirators in the car. They need to have a witness to say that the gun was given to from Mr. Martin to Mr. Davis. They don't have anything. They don't have anything to even prove that my client was in the state of Nevada at the time of this incident. I mean, basically, they have Orlando Anderson, but we don't know if the Crips were here. That's all hearsay that came from the grand jury, and there is no evidence whatsoever. And so without that, we can't put on the trial, Your Honor. We just simply can't. In regards to the delay, again, I don't blame this office, this DA's office in regards to the delay, but somebody made the decision along the way that we are not going to prosecute.
You see what he said? That information, Orlando and them being there, that came from the grand jury. That's coming from Reggie and other people that Reggie brought to the grand jury. They telling them that he wasn't even there.
I mean, basically, they have Orlando Anderson, but we don't know if the Crips were here. That's all hearsay that came from the grand jury, and there is no evidence whatsoever. And so without that, we can't put on the trial, Your Honor. We just simply can't. In regards to the delay, again, I don't blame this office, this DA's office in regards to the delay, but somebody made the decision along the way that we are not going to prosecute Mr. Davis. And this office now needs to go forward with that immunity agreement. They need to. Those promises were made by their officer, the state's officer, and now we're just gonna ignore that? That doesn't make sense.
Immunity agreement from this office, or from the general.
From the general immunity
office,
that
yes.
started from 2008 and went to 2009. Like I said, the only reason that
Who
2000
within Clark County DA's office made that argument? Was that?
No, it wasn't at the DA's office. It was the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Officer, Detective Long.
When he said things like, I'm not going to arrest you.
Right, right. And again, like I said, it was not the office. And so outside of us, having an evidentiary hearing as to who made those decisions back then in the DA's office, I mean, my client is just prejudiced because of those decisions. Because again, everybody waited all these years, and now we have players that are co-conspirators that are just dead and can't, deny participation. And so with that, we submit, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arnold. Okay, I'm going to take your arguments in turn. First, the corpus delicti argument. I am going to consider this on its merits, given the Supreme Court's guidance in Diane versus State. I think it's better to at least hear it on its merits. Corpus delicti requires that there be corroborating evidence to support a confession. In a homicide case in Nevada Supreme Court, as you both said, indicated this could be satisfied by proof of death by criminal agency. So I think maybe an example makes the most sense to explain what this concept means. For example, I confess that this morning, as I was driving into work, I killed someone on 3rd and Lewis Avenue. All right, now let's say there's no body ever found, there's no video, there's nothing. It's only my statement that I killed someone that makes this crime exist. However, here, that is not, in this case, that isn't the case. There is corpus delicti because Mr. Shakur was shot and eventually passed away from his injury. An autopsy was completed. His death was determined to be homicide by gunshot wound. And ultimately, it's a situation where the crime has been established. That a murder occurred because of the body of Mr. Shakur. So I will deny it on those grounds. Regarding the pre-indictment delay argument, as you both cited, it looks like the standard that's laid out federally in People versus Nelson. I'll use that standard. A delay in prosecution that occurs before the accused is arrested or the complaint is filed. So we're looking at a pre-indictment delay argument. That could potentially constitute a denial of the right to a fair trial and due process of law under both state and federal constitutions. And then determining whether prejudice to the defendant has occurred. The court needs to balance the harm to the defendant and the justification for the delay. Here, it's clear that some of the witnesses are now deceased, and there is definitely evidence that has been lost. However, I do find there is a justification for the delay, and a pretty significant one. Uncovering information on Mr. Shakur's murder was ultimately no easy task. There was the interview in 2009, but it's clear that there was, at the attorney's suggestion, Mr. Davis at that time was not getting full information. He was sort of trying to obscure information and make it very general so that he would not be charged with murder, as his attorney indicated. It was not until ultimately the Constant Street Legend book was released in 2019 that Detective Long then sought to establish the words in the book are actually defendants and to corroborate these things. The prejudice of the death of those 4 victims that have been identified had already occurred at that time. Additionally, it took the next several years to gather that evidence and ultimately led to the June 23rd, 2023 search warrant of the defendant's residence. After that search warrant was executed, then the grand jury indicted the defendant after several meetings in September of 2023. The defendant has not provided any evidence to establish the delay was intentionally done to gain a tactical advantage or that the prosecution delayed in bad faith. I don't see that the state really does gain any sort of tactical advantage here. I still think, it's a bit of an uphill battle for them given what they have. And ultimately, they can't get complete justice for Mr. Shakur because of the deaths of those other people, including Mr. Anderson, who's the alleged shooter in this incident. And so I ultimately don't see that this is a situation where the state really got any advantage by delaying, and in fact is themselves hindered. And so overall, I'm going to deny on the pre-indictment delay argument and turn to the immunity argument. It's fairly clear that the state of Nevada has never offered the defendant any sort of immunity. The federal government did in some capacity, but it doesn't appear to be complete transactional immunity. The court agrees that the interview defendant gave to the federal authorities in 1998 cannot be used against him as per the terms of the agreement. I think that's something that the state also conceded in their motion. However, the defendant has not produced any sort of agreement showing the federal government offered him transactional immunity from ever being prosecuted for this crime. In the 2009 interview that's been referenced multiple times throughout these arguments, Detective Long's assurances of not arresting Mr. Davis really go to whether he was in custody for purposes of Miranda or things like that. Additionally, he didn't have a warrant at the time, so that was an accurate statement of the law. There's nothing in that that can imply transactional immunity. Additionally, the defendant's attorneys at that time of that 2009 interview with Detective Long kind of show the opposite conclusion, that he is concerned with the defendant being charged with murdering Mr. Shakur, and that which leads me to believe that Mr. Davis did not have transactional immunity in the view of his attorney, and that's why his attorney advised Mr. Davis to keep it vague. And at that time, Mr. Davis did listen to his attorney, but his subsequent interviews and his self-proclaimed biography did not keep it vague. As the years passed, Mr. Davis revealed additional information on his own volition, and presumably for his own pecuniary interests that connected him to this, the alleged death, or the death of Mr. Shakur, allegedly at Mr. Davis's hands. And I do find the state is entitled to use that information freely given by defendant with no prompting by governmental authority and released to the public in its prosecution. So I'm going to deny motion on those grounds. overall motion to dismiss is denied, and the state is prepared the order consistent with this ruling and with its opposition.
Thank you, we will.
All right, regarding trial readiness, where are we at with that,
Can
Mr.
I approach you?
Of course, yes.
Give me 1 second to go off on the.
We'll lose.
So deny, 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 deny. Now what's going to happen? Now what's going to happen? So that's it, baby. Oh, my bad. I ain't know I had to mute by no. Now that we know that it's denied, right? And just for the record, y'all, these things they do work. These are the joints from the TikTok that, as you can see, it tells you how much your battery is charged too. But I did check them out. I did pair it. I didn't put this one on. But this is how they look. So I did pair it, and I just played some music. They sound good. I'll see how they sound on a phone call, but I'll let y'all know in a minute about the main reason why I got it. It's for the language translation thing. You know, where somebody could be speaking a different language, and if you close enough, it'll be telling you what they saying in English in real time. But so far, even if I just want to use them to go just for the phone or for the gym, or working out, it's a good purchase just for that alone. Now, getting back to Keefe D, let's break down what this judge is saying.
am going to consider this on its merits, given the Supreme Court's guidance in Diami versus State. I think it's better to at least hear it on its merits. Corpus delicti requires that there be corroborating evidence to support a confession. In a homicide case, the Nevada Supreme Court, as you both said, indicated this could be satisfied by proof of death by criminal agency. So I think maybe an example makes the most sense to explain what this concept means. For example, I confess that this morning, as I was driving into work, I killed someone on 3rd and Lewis Avenue. All right, now let's say there's no body ever found, there's no video, there's nothing. It's only my statement that I killed someone that makes this crime exist. However, here, that is not, in this case, that isn't the case. There is corpus delicti because Mr. Shakur was shot and eventually passed away from his injury. An autopsy was completed. His death was determined to be homicide by gunshot wound. And ultimately, it's a situation where the crime has been established. That's that the murder occurred because of the body of Mr. Shakur. So I will deny it on those grounds. Regarding the
So basically, what she's saying right there, yeah, Keefe D said, yeah, he just made that up. You know, he would just tell the story just for profit, this, that, and other. But what she's saying is, I could have been driving to work today and told y'all I hit somebody and killed somebody. But if y'all ain't got no body and nobody knows, never found nobody, yeah, all right, cool. I'll give you that. But he told his story. Tupac did get shot. Tupac did get died. Tupac was in Vegas. Tupac, all the shit that he said in the book and the stuff that he said in the interview happened. So for that case, denied.
pre-indictment delay argument. As you both cited, it looks like the standard that's laid out federally and people.
Right here, she's talking about addressing the delay indictment, like why they been having locked him up, you know. So you should let him out right now, Judge, because they should have been locked him up. This is her response to that.
Versus Nelson, I'll use that standard. A delay in prosecution that occurs before the accused is arrested or the complaint is filed. So we're looking at a pre-indictment delay argument. That could potentially constitute a denial of the right to a fair trial and due process of law under both state and federal constitutions. And then determining whether prejudice to the defendant has occurred, the court needs to balance the harm to the defendant and the justification for the delay. Here, it's clear that some of the witnesses are now deceased, and there is definitely evidence that has been lost. However, I do find there is a justification for the delay, and a pretty significant one. Uncovering information on Mr. Shakur's murder was ultimately no easy task. There was the interview in 2009, but it's clear that there was, at the attorney's suggestion, Mr. Davis at that time was not giving full information. He was sort of trying to obscure information and make it very general so that he would not be charged with murder, as his attorney indicated. It was not until ultimately the Constant Street Legend book was released in 2019 that Detective Moth then sought to establish the words in the book are actually defendants and to corroborate those things. The prejudice of the death of those four individuals who have been identified had already occurred at that time. Additionally, it took the next several years to gather that evidence and ultimately led to the June 23rd, 2023 search warrant of the defendant's residence. After that search warrant was executed, then the grand jury indicted the defendant after several meetings in September of 2023. The defendant has not provided any evidence to establish that the delay was intentionally done to gain a tactical advantage or that the prosecution delayed in bad faith. I don't see that the state really does gain any sort of tactical advantage here. I still think, it's a bit of an uphill battle for them given what they have. And ultimately, they can't get complete justice for Mr. Shakur because of the deaths of those other people, including Mr. Anderson, who's the alleged shooter in this incident. And so I ultimately don't see that this is a situation where the state really got any advantage by delaying, and in fact is themselves hindered. And so overall, I'm going to deny on the pre-indictment delay argument and turn to the immunity argument.
So she basically saying, look, what you saying hurts the defense. I mean, the prosecution. They don't have none of the stuff that you're saying, so it's going to be harder for them to prove it. So I don't think that works in their favor. I think that works in your favor, right? So that's that. And now she's addressing shout out to Carly Kearney. Got the curls going, looking Afrocentric.
prosecution relating that faith. I don't see that the state really does gain any sort of tactical advantage here. I still think, it's a bit of an uphill battle for them given what they have. And ultimately, they can't get complete justice for Mr. Shapiro because of the deaths of those other people, including Mr. Anderson, who's the alleged shooter in this incident. And so I ultimately don't see that this is a situation where the state really got any advantage by delaying, and in fact is themselves hindered. And so overall, I'm going to deny on the pre-indictment delay argument and turn to the immunity argument. It's fairly clear that the state of Nevada has never offered.
So that's for the pre-indictment, why they haven't arrested him. And now she's addressing his immunity agreement. And the first thing you already heard her say was, this state never gave him no goddamn immunity. Like, nice try, Keefe D. Nice try, Keefe D.
And so I ultimately don't see that this is a situation where the state really got any advantage by delaying, and in fact is themselves hindered. And so overall, I'm going to deny on the pre-indictment delay argument and turn to the immunity argument. It's fairly clear that the state of Nevada has never offered the defendant any sort of immunity. The federal government did in some capacity, but it doesn't appear to be complete transactional immunity. The court agrees that the interview defendant gave to the federal authorities in 1998 cannot be used against him as per the terms of the agreement. I think that's something that the state also conceded in their motion. However, the defendant has not produced any sort of agreement showing the federal government offered him transactional immunity from ever being prosecuted for this crime. In the 2009 interview that's been referenced multiple times throughout these arguments, Detective Long's assurances of not arresting Mr. Davis really go to whether he was in custody for purposes of Miranda or things like that. Additionally, he didn't have a warrant at the time, so that was an accurate statement of the law. There's nothing in that that can imply transactional immunity. Additionally, the defendant's attorneys at that time of that 2009 interview with Detective Long kind of show the opposite conclusion, that he is concerned with the defendant being charged with murdering Mr. Shakur, and that which leads me to believe that Mr. Davis did not have transactional immunity in the view of his attorney, and that's why his attorney advised Mr. Davis to keep it vague. And at that time, Mr. Davis did listen to his attorney, but his subsequent interviews and his self-proclaimed biography did not keep it vague. As the years passed, Mr. Davis revealed additional information on his own volition, and presumably for his own pecuniary interests that connected him to this, the alleged death, or the death of Mr. Shakur, allegedly at Mr. Davis's hands. And I do find the state is entitled to use that information freely given by the defendant with no prompting by governmental authority and released to the public in its prosecution. So I'm going to deny the motion on that. Overall, the motion to dismiss is denied, and the state is prepared the order consistent with this ruling and with its opposition.
Thank you.
No immunity. And if he did have immunity or a proffer, they saying, well, when he had his lawyer there back in, what was it, 09 or whatever, and he told him, yo, be careful what you say, woo, 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 woo. He was good. But he came out with the book. He came out with the interviews that superseded all the other stuff in the past. So when they seen the book in 2018, they connected it with the other stuff. And then they went in, and when he did the interviews, who his boy Reggie hooked him up to do the interviews. Reggie probably talked his ass into the book too. Fucking niggas is, man, why are y'all messing with the police? He the police, right? Now you got you got Keefe D. So none of the three things that he thought that was going to work is going to work. He go back with February, March. They cracking. They getting it cracking, baby. It's gone. It's starting in March. And then what happens in March here in New York? I'm well, not here, but what happens in New York in March? Diddy go back to court. The Enterprise letter come out. Watch what I tell you. In March, KVD is going to get a rude awakening, and so is Puff, and they going to be connected. Watch what I tell you. I'm going to knock on wood because I'm not saying I want that to happen to them, but I can see it happening. Now that this motion to dismiss, they and KVD think, oh, because everybody else is dead. No, like they said, they still digging. The prosecution said we still digging, but they got their man Gene Squill, the ace in the hole. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was shooting dice with them. Watch. Oh boy. I ain't wishing no bad on nobody. But these dudes, he did it to himself, baby. He did it to himself. Oh man. So that's that on the KVD thing. Now the young lady, you call all women young. I don't know her age, but if you smart, you call all women young. You know what I mean? You kind of learn that. And so you young men out there, when a woman asks you, how old do you think I am? Don't guess the real number, man. Always go to 21 if you think she's over 21. You know what I mean? Just always say 21. It'll work for you every time. She will blow up and light up like a light bulb. She will think you are the best thing since cheesecake. You know what I mean? But the young lady, Tisa Tales, she's been really digging in the whole Kim Porter circuit, Diddy, things like that. And she mentioned she did a joint yesterday. I think it was yesterday, called Blindsided. And shout out to one of my peoples hit me up on Instagram, and they told me, "Hey man, Tisa Tales was talking about you." And I had somebody else tell me, mention to me as well. So what she was referencing was about the Kim Porter book that came out, and how allegedly, I said that I believe that Kimora Simmons was behind the book. Well, Tisa, few things you got wrong. I wasn't a cameraman for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I was a producer of the show, not a cameraman. That's just small little things. And yes, I was also a videographer as well as a producer, director at Rockefeller as well, not just the cameraman. You'll see commercials, you'll see all types of stuff, right? But anyway, that's neither here nor there, right? Just on the legacy of the legendary videographer, producer, director, Chuckman Joe. I do acting, I do comedy, all right. But so what happened was when the book first came out, Tisa, right? I had no interest in it. A friend of mine's named Gano Grills, he had hit me up and he kept telling me, yo, Choke, did you read the Kim book? You got to read the Kim book. Choke, you got to read the Kim book. And I'm like, man, Kim ain't writing no book, Gano. I'm not reading that, right? So I didn't pay attention to the book when everybody else when they checked it out. So I went in, I hung out with Chris Spencer, the comedian. He had a show at the City Winery in Atlanta, Georgia. And I went to go kick it with the brother, you know. And I seen Albie Shaw there. Albie Shaw was there backstage. And you know, we was busting it up. So of course, you know, I had to ask Albie Shaw, you know, about the book. You know, we all wanted to know about the book. Chris might even asked him, right? So matter of fact, I think Chris is the one that asked him about the book, right? And he asked him, yo, was the book true? And Albie Shaw stated, yo, everything in that book is true, except for the stuff about me. So I was like, well, that's peculiar. Why is everything real except for the stuff about you, right? Now, remember, at this time, I didn't read the book, so I don't know what was said about Albie Shaw in the book, right? But that piqued my curiosity. Once Al said that the stuff in the book was true, then that's when I was like, oh, hold on. I got to read this book. So I doubled back and hit Gano like, yo, I'm going to read the book. You know, I just seen Al. He said everything in the book is true, except for the stuff about him. You know, what was said about him. And then he told me. So I went and, you know, I read the book. The first version of the book, because there's a new version of the book out. When I read the book, it was certain things in there that I know from being in the entertainment industry for a long time and being behind the scenes that made sense to me, right? Now, two of the things that stood out to me in the book, once I knew that it was allegedly real, according to Albie Shaw, was the Kimora scenes. It was two things that made me feel like Kimora had a hand in this book, allegedly, because of the details, the graphic details of two stories. The one story was her and Kim was kicking it, and she recognized that Kim was pregnant, and that's when Kim was pregnant with the twins, right? And the way she said it, you know, like, girl, you like them titties looking like plump, like or something, you know what I mean? Now, from what I know in being in the industry, allegedly, Kimora is into women more than she is into men. And I've seen her hanging out with a lot of women. Not saying I've seen her in any bedrooms, but I know bisexual women energy, right? And Kimora was like a nigga. She was worse than Missy. Like allegedly, Missy and Kimora is the two niggas that, you know, that ran through all the bad chicks in the industry, right? Allegedly, right? I don't know no. Is there anybody else? Oh, maybe Queen Latifah, allegedly. I ain't gonna get into that conversation. That'd be a whole other thing. But like, there's chicks in the industry that deal with chicks that even though you may see them with a husband, the kids, or whatever, like, oh damn, Jada, allegedly. They them four right there. That's Mount Rushmore. Or bagging the baddies. They probably have more baddies than any of us, fellas, right? But so when Kimora was describing Kim breast, it was not like one of a sister noticing her little sister's, pregnant herself, or not even more of a mother noticing her daughter. For me, the way, in knowing what I know, it felt like more of a lover's energy, allegedly, right? So that was one thing, like how she, like, the book was so detailed and graphic around that part emotionally, being around bisexual women and lesbians. I can kind of read that between those lines, right? But then there was the other thing with Kadada Jones, Quincy Jones' daughter, where I know that story as well because Gene and other people talked about this story about Puff allegedly pissing in a craft and trying and with ginger ale in it and passing it off to Kadada, trying to get her to drink it because well, at the time we really didn't know why. We just assumed because she was Pac's girl, that he would probably do that to her, knowing that he don't like Pac. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Pac. Right? But Gene never gave the details of why Diddy was pissed in the joint because he wasn't even sitting at the table with them. So he wouldn't even know. He just said, they seen it from a distance. And I want to say either he said he stopped it or Wolf stopped it, one or the other, right? But when the story is told in the book, Kimora is at the scene or at the table. And now that story that Gene told about seeing it from observation, now we get detailed everything of why Diddy pissed in the joint or allegedly. You know what I'm saying? It makes more sense when you read the book because somebody is breaking it down. And in that situation, Kimora is in it and she's active in the conversation, which gave me the impression like, well, damn, Kimora like got like in the stuff with Kim being pregnant, that's very detailed. And it was only Kim and Kimora for it to be detailed like that. Like, so did Kim really write that out like that? Right. And then when the vibe party, and I was at the vibe party, I was there. I seen the whole thing, the fight, everything. I remember that too. I was there. I wasn't filming. I was there though, right? I didn't see the Diddy pissing in the table. I'm not saying none of that, but I was at that vibe party, and I don't know if I have footage because it's so old. I still remember the award. It was a red V. It was a red V, a big red V. The award. But so Kimora is at the table when this thing takes place. And then it, again, is very detailed, that story, right? I mean, it's very detailed. And I'm like, damn, man. Then it was the thing that this is the other thing. the third thing that I forgot to mention that just popped in my head. The night Kim got, I'm gonna say got killed or got murdered allegedly or died. I remember from personal people, not from social media, that Kim had allegedly text Kimora and said he got me. And by the time Kimora got to Kim's house, she was already dead, right? Now, I heard that the day of the same 24 hours when Kim died back in, what was that, 2018, I think it was, right? I heard about Kimora getting that text from Kim in that 24, before that was even public. I heard that before that was even public. So when I seen that in the book, I was like, hold on. Like, how is that in the book? Like, who else knew about it? Because that was like a, I ain't gonna say it was confidential because clearly Kimora was allegedly telling people about that. But that surfaced the day, within 12 hours of Kim being dead, I heard about that text. So when I seen that at the back of the book, I was like, the breast, the Divide Party, and the text messages all in the book, and detail, graphic detail. I was like, man, that sounds like Kimora might have something to do with this book, man, allegedly, right? So this is how I got validation, Tisa, right? Now, I don't know how true it is, right? So there's the guy, Chris Todd. Chris Todd is the guy who was what was the name? Oh, where is? All right. So the book that came out on Kim, right? It said Todd Christopher was the author, right? Todd Christopher is the guy, Chris Todd. He's the one that put out the first book. He got the book from the dude Courtney, right? The dude Courtney is the one that that the feds picked up or whatever, because he said he had Kim's drive and all this other stuff, right? So what happens is, yeah, Courtney Burgess, right? So Chris bought the book from Courtney, allegedly, right? Or they had some type of deal. They put the book out. Chris put it out. It was doing good. And then I think Albie Shaw hit him with a cease and desist, hit Chris with a cease and desist or whatever. And that stopped the sales of the book, right? Somewhere down the line, I don't know what happened between Courtney and Chris. There's been some I don't know what's going on. I gotta ask him again. I forgot. They had some type of phone out or whatever. Right? So Chris gives me a call, right? Or he reaches out to me on social media, email. I can't remember. Right? I got so many goddamn social medias and stuff, ways of people to reach out to me. But anyway, he reaches out to me and I give him a call, and me and him, we kick it, we have a conversation. Then he asks me, he says, Choke, who do you think is behind this book? Right? And I gave him the whole rundown or whatever. And I said, allegedly, I believe it's Kimora, right? Now, he didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing. And I gave him my reasons why I believed it was her, right? So we had a long conversation. We kicked it or whatever. You know, he was asking me if I knew Courtney. I told him I ain't know Courtney. I never met him before, to my knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Because I meet a lot of people that I may have forgotten, but I don't remember meeting Courtney or being around him in the industry. But you know me, I'll go dig through some files, and you never know who's in the background, right? But I told him I didn't know him or whatever, right? So we talked or whatever. You know, he told me, you know, the situation with the book and, you know, how he got the book, you know, and where he got the book from. And, you know, they did a deal and boom, 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 boom. Right. So then now, I think the guy Courtney re-put out another book allegedly and just selling it off his website opposed to going through Amazon or whatever, or something like that allegedly. And something happened, and then there was another story that came out. And I don't know, I can't remember, but whatever this story came out, it had revealed allegedly that Kimora was behind the Kim Porter book, right? So the dude Chris called me back again, right? Or maybe I called him and I asked him, I don't know. I don't remember. But we spoke again, right? And I asked him, right? And he was like, I was like, yo, so they saying now that that Kimora was allegedly behind the release of this Kim book. And he said, well, you did guess it before. I just didn't say nothing because it was confidential. But now that it's out there, you could say it, Choke. Yeah, she's the one that gave the book to Courtney, the thumb drives and everything, allegedly. That's what the guy Chris told me, right? He said that it was Kimora that gave the stuff to Courtney, and Courtney is the one that sold it to him. Now, I don't know how true that is. Kimora could clear that up, you know, but there is a 110% fact that the guy, the first author of the first book, told me that allegedly Kimora is the one that gave that to Courtney. And I just felt like my suspicions was right. And the guy, Chris Todd, he told me, yo, Choke, I couldn't tell you before when you said it, but now that it's out there now, yeah, she's the one that gave it to Courtney. So, I don't know how true that is. They know how true it is. Do I believe that Courtney got that from Shakir Stewart? Hell no. I definitely don't believe. But we'll see when the case go further because he already spoke to the grand jury and he gave them what he had. You know what I'm saying? Now, could Kimora be using Courtney as a Trojan horse to get the information into the hands of the public or the police? Allegedly. I don't know. But I know for a fact, the guy that put out the first book, he told me that she's the one that gave Courtney that drive or that book or that information, whatever it is that was given to him. I don't know how true it is. I never spoke to Courtney, so I don't know. But that is what the guy Chris told me, and that's on everything. And I doubt he'll lie about it, because what reason would he tell me that? So that's that. Keefe D is denied. He go back to court in March. Well, the trial is going to proceed in March, is looking, but they have another hearing February, I think she said 12th, the day after Whitney Houston passed. February 11th. Don't forget, that's Whitney Houston, y'all. Do not forget. You know what I mean? Choke no joke. Y'all already know. I'm out. I'll catch y'all in the AM on the workout. You know what it is. Peace.
No joke out here in DR. My man Delvin. See him?
Yeah. In Dominican Republic.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Choke No Joke birthday cruise, Virgin Voyages in April. Hit me up. Couples, solos, sailors. You know what I mean? Choke No Joke, we celebrating, all right? Aries, Tauruses, come on out. Pisces, you want to join us? Come keep it fishy. You know what I mean? We're going to be on the seas. All right, Choke No Joke at Gmail. Hit me right here on Instagram at Real Choke No Joke if you want them information for the cruise. Got a lot of couples coming. We're going to have fun. You know what I mean? We're going to party hard. All right? Choke No Joke. I'm out. One. Hit that like, subscribe if you didn't. All right? Peace.
Yeah. Choke no joke. Primo, you ain't want to give me no beat, so I'm stealing one. Take it personal. You know you my guy, Primo. Love you. You gonna give me a beat after this one. I never thought that you would cry me, go against me, and backstab me. Third eye is strong, word is bond. Put you on the fakes, and now you won. I gave you support, and you play me. For those who play with butt, yeah, I'm talking Breakfast Club, Revolt, whatever. All I know is birds of a feather. Hang with those that they hate. Once the realness, now you fake, and I see through you. What you gonna do when they book you in your Duke shoe? I know you think I'm expose you. This ain't no threat, take it personal. Choke no joke. 2023, it's all me. You hear me? 2023 is all me. They say, why I don't come around the game? Cause all y'all dudes undercover gay. And I don't play those fucking games. Yo, stop the track, I'm fucking Slay. Rest in peace, K Slay, man. Let's get to the next.
You know what it is. Choke no joke. Never did I think hip-hop go this far. Never did I think I see Diddy behind bars of Kel with penitentiary scars. The man now, is it going too far? Back. Or y'all industry rats, y'all whack. And that's 100. On Pyru, you'll be trapped like Pop, just so he could go viral. Gene saw the nuts of Ja Rule, had the freak off and Diddy's too. You the butt plug shopper, freak door stopper. Nigga, you don't know if you a criminal or cop. But you next to be locked up. Ask Keefe D, telling on yourself,
on Vlad TV. You dumb nigga, you right. You never be me. And I never be you too. Telling on myself on YouTube. Sitting on the porch steps, giving up myself. What the fuck I look like? My name G-Dep. Comb Legacy Doom. Will the bad boy see time like loon? Your extortion fell through. Your friend to no one. Like the moon. Choke no joke. New album coming soon. Learn from mistakes part 2. You know what it is. Keep on hating. You know what it is. You know what it is. Keep on hating. You know what it is. Choke no joke. See how the sun come out for me? Hating ass niggas, I'm hit. You know what I mean? Y'all all got my name in your mouth. My nickname is Tongue now. I'm all in your mouth.
Choke no joke. Yeah. It's choke no joke. Let's go. Choke no joke. Chicken choke no joke. Choke no joke.